Hello, my fellow humans, and welcome back to our podcast. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to unlock rapid business growth almost effortlessly and others struggle for years? What if the secret isn't just a strategy, but something deeper in your mindset? Today, I'm thrilled to welcome Dr. Joseph, known as Dr. Joey, the best kept secret in rapid business growth. With a doctorate in psychology and over 28 years in high level sales, he's the creator of the SMT method, helping hundreds reprogram their subconscious for success. Get ready for some game changing insights. Dr. Joey, welcome to the podcast.
It's great to be here with you, Justin.
That was a little hard to
That's a
get to
great
this morning.
introduction. Thank you. Yeah, and it's droll shaken.
Dr. Joey Droll Shagan.
Yes, sir.
I got it right the first 7 times. I came
I
on
know.
here and I just,
You know how
all my
long it took
training,
me? You know how long it took me to be able to pronounce that and then spell it?
60, 70, 45 years. I don't know.
70.
70 years? Oh,
We are not off to a good start here.
it took me 85 years to get this podcast going. So I
Yeah,
understand.
there you go. There you go. All right, we're back on track.
Yes. Well, welcome. We would love to know your roots, pitfalls, and successes along your journey. What got you here and how you're helping other people.
So I'll tell you really briefly, like growing up, I grew up in Detroit, Michigan in a very low income family and saw struggle all around me. And I carried that into my adult life. I remember as a young kid, 9, 10 years old, thinking, man, you guys aren't doing it right. And I'm not going to be like you guys. But then I was doing the same thing. And I was 22 years old and I had a really big business opportunity show up for me with ease. And as I processed it, I thought, man, I don't deserve this because I didn't work hard enough for it, and I let that business opportunity pass. And that triggered something in my mind and even in my heart that said, this something's not right with me. And that's when I started this journey that's been almost 4 decades now into understanding what was wrong with me and understanding how to change that, which led to the SMT method. And it's been such an incredible journey of a lifetime in doing so.
Hell yeah, brother. And
Yeah.
everyone's out there asking, what is this SMT method you're talking about? We'd
It's
love
it,
to know
it's
more about that.
Yeah, it's all about the SMT is abbreviated for subconscious mindset training. And so what happens is we're going through programming from the time we're infants. We're going through programming, right? What's right, what's wrong. And then we start hearing about like the things we have to do better. And then we go to school and we're in that process. There's a whole process that happens to us in school where it's really robotic training that we all do the same thing the same way. And like Justin, for instance, if we're in math class and we're given a calculus problem and I show all the work to it and get the right answer, I get full credit. If you somehow have a shortcut, but you come up with the right answer,
You
you get
fail.
you get marked down because you were using creativity versus following the whole process of how you're supposed to do it.
Oh my God, that happens to me all the time.
And we continue going through that through life, and then we get girlfriends and friends, we get jobs, and it's just a continual programming. Like I told you, growing up in this struggling family and two great parents that passed away, but what they did the best they could do for me. But where that left me is a place where I had to struggle to feel worth.
I
And it's
feel
been a
that.
journey through that. Early on, in my 20s, I got into sales in the ground floor. And man, I struggled. I was traveling 3 to 5,000 miles a week for a decade trying to grow business and barely making a mark.
I feel
And it
that,
was
man.
because of that inside programming, that deserving and all of that. So once I was able to identify that, and it was a long process. My mid 30s, starting this works at 22 and has been a continuous companion of mine throughout my life. Like I tell people, I'm the guinea pig of everything I teach today, of everything I put together, the SMT method, all of that stuff. It came from my own learning of it. And then as I started learning these tools, as I started understanding the subconscious, and I took a lot of other ways to get there, which didn't really bring me there. But as I started getting more focus on the subconscious and that programming in there, because that subconscious is what triggers our brain waves to the actions we take or don't take. So it would only make sense for somebody that comes from lack. If something showed up easy, I'm going to reject that. And so as I started learning these tools and implementing them well on the ground, developing sales territories, all of a sudden I started landing $18 million, $22 million, $25 million contracts, and overnight taking an organization from 50 to $75 million and doing that. Well,
So
then
it works.
that moved me into, and this is before there was like an SMT method. It was just all the tools I had gone through and all the learnings and everything else, and just continue it. And so then that moved me up into management positions, and I started utilizing that with sales teams, and I started utilizing that with sales personnel. And I could see where I wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't tell them what to do different or how many phone calls to make or any of the things that we have so much coaching around today, keeping us accountable to doing what I would do so in a way. What differs in the SMT method from anything else I know of is that it works off of the uniqueness of the individual, the uniqueness of their desires, their vision, the uniqueness of their programming. And so no two of my clients ever do the exact same thing, but
Ooh.
every one of them achieve at record breaking pace in the results they achieve by it.
I love what you just said there, that every single one is unique to your clients. Because there's so many programs and coaches out there where they have this cookie cutter idea that these work for everyone, but then you try and tell them, like you said back in school, you try and tell them this isn't working or you need something different. They don't pay attention to you. They scold you. Follow my method. Do it this way. And you'll have success. But like for me,
Yeah.
I've never found that with those programs myself.
Yeah, and I've taken a lot of them, invested a lot of my time, effort, and resources into them to
Oh,
walk away going, man, there must be something the matter with me. And it wasn't until
yeah.
later on as this SMT started coming together and as I started leading teams and helping individuals grow that way and eventually business owners is when I started realizing like nothing will fit everyone. And so if I'm trying to do something that fits everyone, I'm not going to achieve the success that my clients achieve through this because I couldn't achieve success through following those cookie cutter one size fit all type of programs.
Yeah, 100%. I feel this. I hit home so hard. I can't tell you the countless amount of those I've gone through or coaches that have like spilled all of this stuff at me saying, oh, if it's not working, you're not doing it right, or it's you. I'm just like, okay. But then at the same time, I'm still growing my self worth and understanding myself in this world of building a business. That like I kind of reflect back. Is it my fault? Am I not doing it right? Am I not putting in the right work? Do I need to try harder? Maybe it is me. You start like reflecting that back and start thinking it is you because you don't know any better yet.
Right. Right. And that's how I walked away from those things, thinking there's something the matter with me. And the SMT method is designed to have us bump up against that subconscious programming so we can identify it, be aware of it, and then we can have the tools to go in there and shift that and open up avenues to achieve greater growth with less effort.
Ooh, that's so powerful. I might have to dive a little bit more farther into this and see what this is all about.
Yeah, I mean, part of the process, another key ingredient of it, I guess, is developing systems of accelerating habits that are unique to the individual. So because I do sales and I make 10 phone calls a day, that doesn't mean 10 phone calls is going to work for you or vice versa. So what we do in there is we help each individual identify what does work for you, what lights you up, what makes get you excited about doing it. And then we find more time to do those things.
So let me ask you this. Hypothetically speaking, this is not about me whatsoever. Say there's guy A, it's
I have a
not me.
friend.
I have a friend. He looks kind of like me, but I'm the better looking one.
Yeah.
I have a
Uh-huh.
friend. He does not like cold calling. He despises it. He feels it very interruptive. You're going into someone's day and you're trying to break them out of their zone to try and be selfish and try and get them to come into your zone of what you have to sell. What are some things you would recommend to that friend to help him either not do cold calls or another way around helping him grow his business? And he knows that cold calling is something you have to do to help grow a business, or is it?
So there's avenues around and through that I work with clients on. It's not one thing, right? Because you're right. At some point, you got to pick up that phone. You get a contact somewhere if somebody's interested, and you have to reach out to them. So we're going to face that. And what I call that is a 10,000 pound phone.
I think it
Right,
makes
that
more
thing
than
is so
that, man.
heavy, we need a forklift to pick it up. And some of the things I've done for myself, I'll speak of, but I mean, there's endless ways that I help clients come up with what that is for them. Is I make a game of it. When I was doing cold calls and sales and developing territories and knew nobody or companies or anything, I'd be looking them up on Google and such, and trying to get to the decision maker and stuff. That was hard to do. And so what I started doing is playing a game where I'd go for 10 no's every day. So what I would do is I'd start calling people, and every time I got a no, I would put a checklist on them. And then what happens over time doing it is you get to like 7 no's, and somebody goes, "Yeah, I'd like to meet with you." And there's almost like a moment when you go, "Man, that takes away one of my no's,"
I'll
but
be like, "What do I do? What do I do? I didn't
it
plan for this."
becomes it becomes more of a game. It takes the weight out of that phone because the big fear we have is fear of rejection. I mean, that's such a huge fear. So if somebody's saying no, they're not interested, then we got to go through that again and again and again, and things like that and stuff. That's what weighs us down with it. But once we start playing a game with it and we realize it quickly overcomes the fear of rejection type of thing. And eventually at deeper levels as we do the programming is we realize that they're not rejecting us. They don't need what we're selling, is it.
Ooh, I like how you put that.
That's it. It makes it so simple with things like that. And then the other thing we'll do as we're developing systems of accelerating habits. Now, I'll tell you this, Justin, I have had people who cannot stand to make phone calls. That as we started doing things and finding ways that worked for them, whether it be the game or whatever it is, then all of a sudden they're into it. And now all of a sudden it lights them up with it. They look forward to getting on that phone and such,
Are those
But
people okay? Are they okay?
but then as we start developing systems of accelerating habits, we're looking at alternate ways of doing that. I'll give you a great example. You ever see somebody do a Facebook Live and you can tell like they don't want to be there?
Oh, yes.
They're
Or they're just not
uncomfortable
sure what they should be doing on the call.
and they're uncomfortable and you can tell like every word is forced and everything else. And how long do you listen to those?
Not that long.
I feel bad for the person. So
Sometimes you look to learn,
a lot of
but
times though, I'll just flip it because I feel bad for the person. Now you ever see somebody doing a Facebook Live and you can tell they're at home, they're in their wheelhouse.
yes.
They're just flowing and you can tell they're getting more energy as they're delivering and things like that and stuff.
I'm like, "How are
So
you
that
doing this?"
first person, I would have them do more Facebook Lives and things like that and get on stages and speaking and stuff. The second person, I'm sorry, I would have them doing more of those things because it naturally lights them up and excites them. The first person, we're not going to do Facebook Lives. We're going to find another avenue to get your message out there. Maybe it's pre-recorded. Maybe it's doing different things and not doing the Facebook thing at all. But we find other avenues that light them up to do,
Funny you
and then
say
we
that.
do find more time to do it.
Funny you say that because, like, my friend who was having this issue, he started a podcast. Okay, damn it, it's me. It's me.
Yeah,
I
we
started
knew.
a podcast, and that had me help me find my voice or have conversations. And it's helped me get to that point where, okay, I can make phone calls now, but I still haven't done them. But I feel more comfortable now. For me, it wasn't the fear of rejection, but understanding how to navigate the conversations correctly, not sound like an incompetent bozo. Which I know is going to happen. It has to happen. I have to sound incompetent before I sound competent. But I learned that by starting the podcast, actually.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
I
that
imagine
makes
you're
sense.
much more comfortable with the podcast now and enjoy it more than your first episode.
Oh yeah, before it was quite hard to watch, like those the Facebook lives. It was hard to watch myself. I'm like, who is that guy? I don't know him. My goodness. It was embarrassing a little bit.
So that's why you've named him your evil twin?
Yeah, it was my evil twin. It's my dark side.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
Now, let's use it. Can we use that as an example real
Yeah,
quick?
go for it. Yes.
Okay. What if you had an avenue? What stopped you from being like you are now?
Would stop me or it has stopped me.
What did stop in the beginning? Why was there such a difference between then and now?
So between then and now, I was practicing, putting the reps in, doing the work, having more conversations, regardless of some days I'd come and be like, oh, I hope they cancel. Oh, I want to have a conversation. But then I'd get on there with them and it'd be amazing. I'm like, oh, I'm glad I did this. But it's some kind of mindset shift that didn't quite happen, but happened as I was doing the work.
Right. So longer period of time, right?
Yes.
What if you had something that worked really quickly that when you decide you were going to do your podcast, you had availability to, and it quickly identified and shifted those things. So your first episode, you're already on your platform.
Just
When you
take my
step
money.
on there, no, when you step into it, you're there. It's
It'd be
you,
amazing.
right? That's what the SMT method in effect does.
Yeah, because how I've been doing it, it's been a great learning experience and building the character and building the reps. But at the same time, it would have been nice to like not have to take so long to really
Right.
get that mind shift there. So
Yes.
yes.
Yes. And that's what the SMT, we can all get there from multiple avenues. And pain is a great motivator because the pain of watching myself on the first podcast or, I don't have a podcast right now, but doing a first one, that if I can do something up front prior to that, which is really prepping the avenue for the results I want, and I can identify and shift that subconscious that's playing out in there. Now all of a sudden I step into that first episode with a lot more power behind me and within me coming through me.
Ooh, that's powerful. I'm interested in more about this SMTP method now, especially with the psychology behind it. So I know you were saying earlier, it's based on our, what's the word I was looking for? Conscious. And I kind of understand that because as I go through, like, I was talking to some about affirmations, for example, and they're saying, I always listen to them, but it didn't quite work. I didn't get it. And that they made the notation to me that it only works if it's something you actually believe that you can do. And I went into it, that mindset with that. And then having that in my subconscious, listening to it over and over, maybe realize I know I can do this and kind of reinforced me to be able to do that.
Yes. And what's more powerful, like, there's vision boards and things like that. There's
Yeah.
what I work off of, and every client we come out of the gate developing what the SMT method calls a dynamic vision. And a dynamic vision is what is it you want, whether it be business growth, right? And then what does life look like at that level? And how do you live your life? How does it impact all areas of your life? How you're living this? And we get a lot of clarity as far as what it looks like, which would be like the vision board. But then that's a powerful vision. We increase it into a dynamic vision by adding that feeling tone of what does it feel like to be that person, living that life, experiencing those things. Now all of a sudden we've lit the fuse. And then even in developing the vision, we're bumping against the programming so we can expand the vision to a larger potential for us. And so as we're going through there with that vision now, and we're putting that vision on, we have different ways of doing that within the SMT method. But as we're doing so, we're bumping up against those limitations that are causing us to stay, in lack.
I love that limiting
And so
belief.
we shift those. And I'm telling you, it works in any area of life, our health and our well-being. I've helped people with exercise programs, weight loss programs, things like that and stuff. I look at one of the things I tell people, like if I'm working with somebody who smokes, you know, like it'll come up and they'll always say I'm a smoker. And I'll go, no, don't ever say that again. You smoke. You're not a smoker. We identify what we do to who we are. And that right there can be just kinking that flow of what we want to experience in our life by doing so. So we quit identifying to things like that. As we quit identifying to it, it loses its importance because it's no longer tied to our identity and it becomes easier to give that up. And this person I was talking about with the weight loss, like all we did really was we came up with exercises in a way he could exercise every week that didn't get boring or flat or things like that. And now he has a whole plethora of things he can do that he looks forward to. And all he does is picks one, which on the days he works out. And we start developing those systems like that within that are tailored to the individual. And all of a sudden, he's no longer worried about losing weight. He's excited that he gets to go bike riding today, or he's excited that he gets to go play pickleball, or he's excited, whatever the activity is he's doing, and it gets it out of that. And that's the quickest way to get to the results we ultimately want to get to.
That's powerful. I want to go back for a minute. You're talking about identity. And I recently learned that identity really helps the mindset shift. The things you identify with life, example, like I identify as a computer programmer, for example. But as my life changes, it doesn't mean I'm always going to be identifying with that. But as life changes, I identify with that still, but I don't really shift that identity into the new person I'm trying to be as I see, like you said, to the vision board. And a lot of us have a hard time with shifting that identity and change the identity. We think it's going to change who we are, what we believe, but in the way it really is, and it needs to if you want to go forward.
Yes.
So that
Yes.
idea with identity is very powerful.
It is. It is. And then going back to what I was saying earlier about the SMT method is, we
Yeah.
developed that vision and things like that. And then the importance of the subconscious is it triggers brain waves to the actions we take or don't take. So if we have some limiting programming in there, then we're not going to take the actions that lead to expansion. We're just not. And the other part of it is, and this is where it's really critical. It took me a while to learn this since I started coaching, outwardly 12, 13 years ago, whatever it's been, is this isn't necessarily for people who need it. It's for people who want to bring about change,
That is so powerful.
and all it requires is an open mind. So often we get stuck in this mode of this is how it is and that's the only way it can be. I can't
Way
do
too
anything for that
often.
person. But somebody that's at a point going, man, I can't stand living like this anymore and I don't know what to do. That's a door opener right there. And we get to choose where we are with that. Not always easy, but we get to choose where we're going to be.
It's not an easy path. I actually had that same moment in my life several times, right? I'm tired of where I am, tired of who I am, what I'm doing, and just the actions I'm taking. And I want more and better for myself and those around me.
Yeah.
And just to understand that was just so powerful.
Yeah, and the gift in that is because it doesn't always feel easy. For a long time, when I was doing the old coaching programs and things like that and stuff, I'd get in there and I'd hit a paradigm with something and I'd be like, I just something within me, it's so strong programming in me. I just won't let it go. Not that I can't, but I won't let it go.
Oh,
And now with the SMT, it helps people to identify and then to shift that into bringing immediately a greater results right from the time we shift it. So you get to see those results open up. So then all of a sudden, now we become more open and more open and more. And as we're shifting these things, we become more open and it becomes easier. It's mainly where the most difficult time of it is when we're trying to shift it alone.
oh, I feel that so hard because I used to have a lot of limiting beliefs myself. And
Yeah.
like they didn't help me get to where I needed to be. But over time, taking steps to kind of just get rid of them one by one, it just kind of changed that dynamic in my life of where I'm going and trying to get to. But I still have some myself I'm trying to get through. I don't even
Well,
know I
there's
have.
different, it's
Don't
like
know
the
what they
peeling
are.
the onion. Right? There's
Ooh,
different layers to them and stuff. So we go through
for
one, and
sure.
another one shows, and that's what the benefit of the SMT is. It continues to build upon
That
as we
onion's
go through the
dangerous.
process.
Makes you cry, literally and mentally.
What's that?
The onion. When you're peeling back those onions, it can be very painful. Not just the crying from the onion, but from the life change itself. It
Yeah.
brings you kind of a
Yes.
shock, like, I
Yeah.
can actually do this instead of being
Yes.
stuck right
That
there.
breakthrough, those
Yeah.
realizations. That's where the gift of all of it is. That's why I'm so passionate. Like I love helping people change their lives. And when I get to be a part of somebody's breakthrough, it'll make me cry. Like, I
It's
mean,
so
just so
powerful.
much excitement and gratitude in getting to be a part of that in somebody's life is just amazing.
Just seeing someone that's like where they used to be to where they can be and then where they're going and seeing that like they broke through all of that and they like the look on their face, they made their feel, everything changes in their life. That's just
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, and whether it's somebody who's outside of a relationship, a divorce, whatever it is, or just somebody who desires to have that great love relationship, but it's just not happening, and getting to see that unfold and open up for that person. All of it, it's not an outside thing we can go and get to. It's that we have to come from that internally, which means we have to align what we want, which is a conscious mind, with the subconscious programming. Once we get that alignment in place, man, when they said it says about us being able to move mountains, it's not exaggerating.
Oh, it's so powerful, the alignment. I feel that because I always tell people we have the tools and the power inside us already, but we just know how to bring those out and tap into them. And like you said, the alignment.
And so often they're covered over by a skin of our programming, our conditioning. And because there's so many things that leads us to living like robots, we never question that. We just get the job and we go there every day and things like that. We don't break off and do what we're really passionate about, or we don't find that great love, or we come up with excuses for it all the time. And that's all subconscious programming going on there.
But that's that's
Helping
strong
companies.
programming. That's can be dangerous programming. Anyone questions that, they're like, "What are you trying to get into my head for? I know what I'm doing." You're like, they're such zombified.
Yeah, and it's really the difference between living on mediocre scraps of what's possible through us, or really living life fully. I deal with a lot of
And
business people and things, and helping, I mean, hundreds of clients that I've served in the past decade, with like companies going from like $7.5 million as a 13-year high within 12 months, breaking $22 million a year, and continuing to do that now for going on 8 years. Or a $300,000 wholesale company going to 3 million, or somebody doing a couple grand a month on a side business while they work full time, to breaking into that all through the SMT method, to opening that up, getting so busy in their business, they no longer had time to go to the job, and now they're doing between 45 and $55,000 a week in revenue, and it goes
damn.
over and over and over again.
It's interesting because I always thought there was a skill that I didn't understand or something I needed to know
Me
but I
too.
didn't get. And I'm still kind of there, but I'm learning now that it's not that. It's just something of a limiting belief, what you're saying to your SMTP method. It's something inside me that it's there, but I need to figure it out to get there.
Yes.
Opening that up, pulling back that onion inside of me.
Yeah. Some people call it like getting back to our authentic self.
Yeah.
And shifting that programming, which ultimately brings that perfect alignment to what we want, and the actions we take that align with that rather than fight against it.
So many of us are so out of alignment. And some of us are okay with it. Some of us don't know, but those of us who do, who see it, who want to understand it, want to change it, what are some starting methods you can kind of help those people out? They're like, I'm
Yeah.
here right now. I feel this. What can I
Yeah. So
do?
so here's before I go into that though, I just want to say something about your site,
Yeah.
because you said some people know it and don't care about it. And I don't believe that humans are like that. What I believe it is that they become victims. They blame outside resources, they blame competition, they blame state of the economy, they blame different things and everything else with that and stuff. And I've had somebody question me on that before, and I asked them, you ever know a business who in a bad time, economic time, they just thrive and grow their greatest growth in that period? And
Yeah.
everybody goes, yeah. I go, you ever see businesses who in a boom are struggling just to keep the doors open? And everybody goes, yeah. So that tells us right there, it's not about the state of the economy. That doesn't matter, or else that
Yeah.
person would have never been able to achieve that greatest growth during that time
Your
period.
economy.
But what we do, yeah, but what we do is we look at the outside situation, circumstances, and conditions, and we put the blame on those. So then we don't have to do anything internally. The bad side of that, though, Justin, is we go our whole life being a victim of whatever's happening outside of us, and we're way more powerful.
Actually, I was there myself, so I feel that. I was always like, things are happening to me, but not realizing things are happening for me. And it took me a while to understand that, like, I had to go through drugs, alcohol, death, depression, anxiety, all this stuff. But all of that
Yes.
was kind of a symptom of that going on, not
Yeah.
understanding that.
Yeah, and I've been through all that's I said, I'm the guinea pig for this whole method, because it was for my life to change my life that ended up bringing it about.
Ooh, it's so powerful. I'm sure other people really resonate with that as well. They're
Yeah,
like,
now I got tied into that, and you had asked me about something people can do.
yes, that is correct.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple things, and I have a gift to share with your audience before we get done here today that I will. But the first thing I do is it's about awareness. We got to be aware of what we're doing when we're doing it. So that awareness, without even realizing the power of awareness, that awareness is what helped me at 22 years old to go, why would I ever pass on?
How did you get to that awareness, though?
Because it was a great business opportunity. It would have lasted my whole life, and on downstream and things like that stuff. But I rejected it because I felt I didn't deserve it. And that became clear to me, which is the awareness. And then so now I let this thing pass, and I was actually went into a little depression with it and stuff because it was like, I don't understand how awesome this was and how much I wanted it, why I would do that. And that started bringing that awareness in. Because at first, I don't think I realized that I actively felt internally that I didn't deserve it because I didn't work hard enough
I feel
for
like
it.
a lot of us feel like that a lot about things.
Eventually that came out and stuff, and that was kind of like a pivotal time in my life, really, that started changing everything forward from there. And so with yeah, so one of the things I tell people is that awareness, instead of just going through life like a robot, or here it is, I'm driving to work again, same route, same day, go to work, do all the same things, leave work not liking it and doing the same thing, or a business struggling, and our programming tells us if our business is struggling, then we need to work harder, right? We need to work harder, when actually that slows it down even more. And it's been proven that will slow it down even more. We become less productive. We become less excited about what we're doing, things like that. And eventually we see a lot of companies that could be very huge, thriving companies that close up before they ever get the chance to get there because of exhaustion and burnout and fatigue
Yes.
and losing the spark of why they started doing it in the first place. So when we can go in there, so the other thing I'd say to look at is, what do you want? What do you really want? Like, what does that look like? What's it? What the imagery of that? What does it look like? But then put some feeling tone into it too, and just play with it. I always write because it's another level of committing to it when I'm writing, rather than I'm just open thinking about things like that. So I'll write it, but I'll write down, what does it look like, and how would that feel really to live that life? Now we've initiated a spark that will help us become more aware of what's actually going on with the actions we're taking and not taking. Are we not taking the action because it's the wrong action to take, or are we not taking the action because it's tapping into some programming?
What if you're not sure? Like, example, I feel that I've tried asking myself those questions. What does it feel like? What's my why? What is it I'm trying to achieve here? What does this all look like in the future? And it's kind of hard to see that sometimes. Like, I don't see it. I'm trying to imagine it, but it's like can't something holding me back. My belief, I just can't quite see that just yet. But I know it's there. I know where I want to go, kind
Yes.
of. But it's what,
Yes.
how, what? It's not. I'm not getting
And
there.
that's part of the whole thing of my special. I like so many people have nicknamed me the rapid growth specialist. And I love that, because that's what I'm about. Name my company is IFGT, which stands for it's freaking go time. It's time to quit playing
Hell
small.
yeah.
So everything about me is like that, and it was hard. It was really hard. I could get some of the awarenesses, but a lot more came when I got help and identifying it. And I had a proven process like the SMT method or something else that helped me to go through that journey of identifying. And then, because I identify it and just be stuck with it would be a really bad place to be. So you got to have something that helps to make that shift. And the quicker you can do that shift, the quicker you start experiencing different results, and the more excited everything becomes as a result of
Ooh, I like how you said that because I'm learning myself that in this journey that we are humans that need to follow processes, need to have systems to help us not just our business but our lives. And we do need to ask for help with that. Some of us don't know how or where to reach out to people sometimes, or if we should, but just understanding to reach out to someone and that we need systems in our lives to follow can make things easier. At first, I was like, well, I'm not a business. Why am I running my life this way? But if you don't, what's the other side of that? And
it.
it's
Yeah.
just a powerful thing.
One of the biggest things I do when I'm working with business owners who are not experiencing the growth that they want to experience and such, one of the things I have to do is get them to throttle back,
What? What do you mean?
because when things aren't working, we'll typically put more effort, more hours, more work into it and stuff, trying to make it happen. And we just shut it down. That flow, we just shut down more and more in doing that. So I have to get them to throttle back. And that's one of the ways I do that, is helping when we're developing that dynamic vision, because you got to throttle back a little bit to put real essence into the dynamic vision. So in doing so, people will start noticing things changing, even as we're developing the vision, because they've released it enough to where things can flow and come about.
Ooh,
So an analogy of that is when I'm working, and I'll tell you, I know this stuff, right? And I teach it now. I've learned it firsthand. I've taught it to, the people that work for me and things like that and stuff. But when COVID hit in my business, I had 14, I think it was 14 cancellations in one day of speaking events and things I had planned on the calendar and things like that. They all canceled. And it was like, man, without realizing it, I went back into that extra labor mode. And I started working frantically and trying to do all kinds of stuff and everything else. And nothing came of that. And finally, I was working with a coach at the time, and I do regularly because they say best coaches have coaches. And I get a lot out of it, really. But
yeah.
he told me one of the things I love to do is hang glide. And he said, "What are you doing?" And I told him, he goes, "Stop that right now. Stop. Go pack a bag, go to Chattanooga and go hang gliding for a few days." And I did.
Free your
I
mind.
was out there putting a hang glider together, and somebody called me out of the blue that heard about me from social media or something, and said, "Hey, I really want to talk to you. I have this going on and everything else." And I said, "Okay, I'm about to run off a 2,000-foot mountaintop on a hang glider. But once I land at the bottom, can I call you back?" And ended up being a client. Other opportunities start opening up. But when I'm so focused on that, it's kind of like the analogy of that being in a kayak on a river. When we're going with the flow of things, more opportunities show up easier than when we're going upstream looking for views and things like that.
It's so strange because it seems like we're doing the opposite of what we should be doing, but we're all doing it. And it seems normal that we're doing it. It doesn't really make sense when you really think about it.
Well,
I,
and where do we get that from? I mean, again, I'll take it right to programming in the subconscious because we
so
hear
much
these
of
things and
it.
we've heard for years. If you want something, you got to be willing to trade off your life for it. You got to be willing to work endlessly and you got to be willing to sacrifice and this and that and everything
No
else.
sleep, no friends, no family.
Less than 0.5% of the people following those programs ever achieves anywhere near the results that are boasted about achieving.
It's crazy. And like I know
But
I learned
every one of them achieve. I'm sorry, exhaustion, burnout. It can go to depression. It can go to dis-ease in the body, which turns to disease, and start having blood pressure issues, start having,
feel that.
being a candidate for a stroke, heart attack, all these other things that come from that. But we don't see the results that we want to achieve. Very minimal people achieve the results that they're expected to receive in that. When we back off and we get into the flows, and now we have a vision that we're moving forward to that's guiding us into what actions to truly take that matter. So we're aligning before we step in and start working. And then as we developing these systems of accelerating habits that are things that light us up, that turns on our attraction mechanism even more so. And so as we tap more into those things, all of a sudden we're running the business that we want to run. But at the same time, the business is at the level we want or higher. And at the same time, we're living life how we truly desire to live life.
Oh, it's so powerful. And I feel that because I was there for a while. I'm still like, I had to, so for me, I had to change a lot of habits. I had to realize working past 10 or 11, that only makes my next day miserable. And that I'm trying to work harder and get all this done. That I realized for myself, I had to get my sleep in order by getting 8 hours of sleep and then just work until 8. And if I work until 8, I'm better the next day. I can get more done efficiently without having to go through the hours, 3, 4 a.m. a lot of people do and like get no sleep, running on empty, miserable, depressed. I see that and I get that.
And
Uh,
when I was in corporate America as a vice president of sales, helping organizations in bankruptcy get back to profitability, I was, if I had to be in the office 2 days in a row after 5 o'clock, I was ticked off. I was depressed. I was angry. I was upset. I felt like I was getting taken advantage of, all these negative things and stuff like that. There's times now when I'll do all my stuff during the day, whether it be podcast, coaching sessions, reach outs, whatever it is. And then I'll go home and after dinner, I'll come back up here 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. Right next to me is another room that has like the screens and all that stuff, the lights and all that. So in the studio. And so I'll go there and, I'll do things till 2:30, 3:30 in the morning, maybe later sometimes. And I'm so lit up, I can't go to sleep. I'm so excited.
on your terms.
And that's what the difference is. It's aligned to my vision. It's aligned to the way I want to live today. not based on somebody else or somebody told me I have to pick up that 10,000-pound phone 15 times today or 20 times today or 50 times or whatever it may be. I don't have to follow those things. I found my avenue. And that's one of the things a one size fit all program cannot deliver on. I'm not ripping on it, but I'm just saying it cannot deliver on your unique path. So where people say, we got your roadmap to success, they don't even know who I am. How can they have that?
Where's my roadmap? Please show me.
Well, and even the one they give me is it doesn't work for me. So in the
Mm.
SMT method, what we're doing is we're helping each individual develop that roadmap for them that they can then, after we're done, they can carry that into any adventure, any business, any area of their life, and they have their roadmap now for that
That
lasts the
is
rest of their life.
that is so powerful. And at first, I thought it was just me. I thought because I was on the spectrum, I understood things differently. I thought, okay, I have a learning disability, but learning and understanding it more. It wasn't that. It was just the people that I was talking with, the coach I was reaching out to, didn't quite understand how to work with me as an individual. I want to thank you for coming on here. And I want to know where people can reach out to you if they would like to work with you and learn more about this SMT method. This sounds amazing. I'm going to have to reach out to you myself.
Yeah, absolutely. And anybody can reach out to me. And I have a special gift as well.
Yeah.
Anybody can reach out. We talked about the vision, but I got some exercises we can do in like 10 minutes, 15 minutes on the phone and stuff that really starts sparking it. So anybody that wants to reach out can reach out to coachwithjoey.com and book a 10-minute appointment with me. And then the other special delight with that, Justin, is I'm really, really excited that beginning of next month, my new book on reprogramming the subconscious, the SMT method, is coming out. And anybody who reaches out and we have the conversation, I'll gift them a copy of the book.
That's amazing. I'll definitely put that in the show notes so they can find it as
Okay,
well.
yes. Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, but all they got to do is go to coachwithjoey.com and book a time with me. We'll get out in 15 minutes. I promise anybody it's not a sales call. I don't talk about programmer. I'll help you with that dynamic vision. We can do some exercises with it to start expanding that for you.
That sounds amazing. I really resonate with this very much. And I really appreciate you coming on here and telling us about that, Dr. Joey. It's been profoundly an honor to have you on here today.
Great conversation. This
Yeah.
just set my day, man. I'll be
Hell
smiling the rest
yeah.
of the day. Thank you, Justin.
You're very welcome. And before we go, I want to leave you with one last question today. Because this really kind of encompasses all this as us being human beings, trying to connect with other human beings and help each other. What does it mean to you to be a human being?
Wow, that's really coming out of left field there. Okay, I'm just messing with you. Um, the best way for me to explain that is there's a human doing, right? The human doing is comes from a misalignment place and it's working harder to get what we want and forcing things to happen and pushing and all of that stuff. A human being is when we take the time, we get into alignment with what we want to achieve and we allow the actions to come through us. We allow things, things to out of the blue type of things, coincidences, things like that. We start better aligning with those, but we live more fully in that process of doing so, which actually, instead of draining our energy, coming from a state of human beingness, recharges our energy. Whether it's going out trout fishing, walking in the woods, hang gliding, or even just taking a few moments in the day and just connecting with my vision. That human being is what the intention of our life is meant to be. It just got combobbled with how we have to do and make things happen and everything. And that causes our biggest stresses in our life.
God, that's so powerful and that's so true. Wow. I'm gonna put that on like a fortune cookie or something. They're like on my vision board.
You must have pretty big fortune cookies.
Ah, you know, man, I got a big appetite. What can I say? Damn, Dr. Joseph, we're gonna have you back on here again. I really appreciate you taking your time out of your day to come over and talk with us today. Thank you so much.
Really enjoyed this, Justin. Thank you.
You have a good rest of your day.
You too.